to show you the way we are actually doing to perform the actions we've asking for you. As you know, we are using a device with RFID, and we are using currently Microsoft Windows C. It's an old version of the operating system. That's the main reason we are switching to Android. So let me load this software. While loading this software, I'm going to share with you some information about the catalogs and all other data. First of all, we need to have a catalog about reference assets. That means that any single asset we want to create in our project needs to have a reference for itself to be born. Let's say that we need to create, for instance, a table or something like that. First, we need to have this virtual representation of this asset so that we can have any individual assets. Each individual asset has to be tagged, but first of all, we need to have this virtual asset. To have this virtual asset, it is not the purpose of the device software, it is the purpose of the web software. So in the handheld we are using currently, you are not going to see that we can create a virtual asset. You are going to see that all virtual assets have already been created. So the next step is to create real or single assets. Let's see how we can do that. The first window we're going to see is the locations window. In here we're going to see that we've got different tree, and this tree is going to represent the locations. We have this hierarchy. First of all, we've got something like building, then we've got something like the floor, and finally we've got the sub-location or the specific location. So that's the main window. In order to perform an inventory, we're going to see that we can load either inventory or tagging here. But first, we need to know what is the location we want to work with. So let's say we're going to work with this planta baja and planta alta, and we want to have an asset tagged. First, we're going to perform a tagging or etiquetaje. So it's going to load, as I told you, virtual assets. Those assets doesn't exist, they are not real assets. They are just a representation of an asset. So in here you're going to see some fields like description, brand, model of their representations of assets. Let's choose something like that. Then we're going to click here to continue. Then we're going to go to this window. In this window, we're going to see that description, brand, and model are already loaded. And you can write down or enter a serial number. You can get it by typing it on the keyboard, or you can use the barcode reader. So I'm just introducing anything. In here, we're going to see a little square. In this little square, the picture is going to be shown. Of course, if the representation of the assets got a picture, you are going to see here. If this asset doesn't have a picture, well, you're going to see the black or the blank square. Now we've got two different options. One option is it's called varios, which means several assets, and the other one is mantenimiento or mantener, which means that you need to keep the data once you've saved the first time. So the purpose of that, when you click varios or several, that means that you can add several assets at one single time. That means that if you have, for instance, 20 microphones, you can add 20 microphones in one single step. Let me show you by first adding one single microphone. I'm going to put again some serial number. Now I'm going to read an EPC. I want to clarify and be very bold about this issue. Here we are tagging an asset. Here we are not changing the tag. It is not a cambio de tag. A cambio de tag or changing tag, it's very different, and it's only for those assets that are already tagged. So here I'm going to read an EPC. It is displayed, and I'm going to save it. It says okay, you have saved one asset. It's okay. Let me change location. Just the last location. It is like a generic office, generic application or location, and generic sublocation. So let's tag another asset. I'm just changing locations. It's that simple. Okay, I'm going to choose another reference object. It doesn't matter. It could be anyone. So I'm choosing this screen, LG screen, and clicking here. Okay, in this window, now we've got the description, brand, and model. So we can get some serial number by typing it. Let me read another EPC. Okay, I'm going to save it, but before save it, just notice that this EPC ends with a 31B. That's important. That's important because we're going to find it after that. So let's save it. It is in that location. It says that the process was correct. So I'm going to perform an inventory in that location. This location has some assets, and among those assets there is this one that we just added. And let's remember the EPC, it ended with 31 beam. So here it is. So what happens when you perform an inventory? When you start RFID antenna to read, you are going to find all the assets that are in the range and are red. So I just found this one that I've just tagged, and all other, and this one that they are present in my database, but they don't belong to that location that I am performing the inventory. So they are represented in yellow. That's the way I can know that this asset belongs to me, but it doesn't belong to the location I am trying to inventory. So that's how inventory works. Now let me show you the same process but with more tags. So let's tag more assets. Okay, I'm going to choose another virtual asset or reference asset. It doesn't matter which one, it's just a test. Okay, let's say we're going to use this scanner. This time we're going to tag several assets. So we're going to read within this location. You are going to see that I've read 3 different EPCs or 3 different tags. That means that I'm going to create 3 different assets with the same reference. That's very important. We're using one reference to create 3 different assets, real assets. So we're going to use the location, the same location that we have used in the past, so that we can have all the assets in the same place to perform the inventory. So let's click save. Once we've clicked save, the little window says that 3 real assets have been created. Okay, so let's go to inventory. In that window, it is going to load all the assets that belong to that specific location that we've selected. Um, if you remember in the past, there were 6 different assets, 6 total assets. Now they are 9 because we've just added 3 more assets. So let's pull the trigger in the handheld to get all the readings in the new range. Okay, I read this one because I was pointing the handheld to the screen. I'm going to point the handheld and pull the trigger again to all the 3 different tags that I've just added, so that you can see how it works. As soon as I pull the trigger, you're going to see that the green label is going to change. The green label is going to show us how many assets, how many correct assets that belong to this location the handheld reader has found. So it was very quick. You could see that it went from 1 to 4. That means, of course, that we found all the 4 assets that we have just tagged in this moment for this test. Let me reset it and do it again, so that you can see that we can perform the inventory in very few seconds, less than 1 single second, and we can have at least these 4 assets that I've just created. Okay, I was pointing to the other side. I just broke this asset, so let me do it again. I just click reset, so I just reset the inventory. We're looking for 9 assets. We don't know how many we have found. In green, we're going to see that information. So I'm going to read just as quickly as you have seen. We've located 4 assets. It's very fast. Okay, so I think that's as simple as you saw. You can get the assets tagged, and then you can get the assets inventoried. Okay, there's another process that you are using a lot, that is cambio de tag. And cambio de tag is a different process. As you've written and you understood correctly, cambio de tag or tag change is something we're going to use when the asset is already tagged. So it's not. I'm not sure if it's. Yeah, it is here. When you find an asset that's already been tagged and you read the episode, you're going to see that all the information is going to be loaded here. So you can know the description, that it's Fujitsu scanner, or that stuff. Also the brand, the model, or the serial number if it's serial number. And also you have something here that is change. So that means that if your asset is already tagged you can read another tag, another EPZ. You can get it changed by clicking here. Are you sure you want to change the EPZ number? Yeah, we're sure. Okay, and that's the purpose of this model. First, you have to have your asset tagged, and then you can perform the cambio de tag or the tag change. But it is not as important as the tagging process and the inventory process. Those processes are the most important ones. So that's why I've asked you how to perform them, because I was not able to do it. So I hope with this video it could be very clear what's the purpose. So anyway, we're going to be in touch, so we will clarify some final doubts. Thank you.